Good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Hugo Quintanilla here with another live. I hope you all are having a great evening. As always, it is great to see all of you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them on your platform of choice. We are going to YouTube and on LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, leave them on there. Today, we are going to be talking about unlocking opportunities, navigating real estate for minorities and first generation buyers. We actually I participated in a webinar today with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and the Sheba report came out, and we had a discussion about the Sheba report. But what is the Sheba report? I actually shared it a little bit before this live. And what the Sheba report, SHIBA, is, it's an acronym by NARAB, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, that stands for the State of Housing in Black America. The term Sheba is the acronym used to represent our focus on the state of housing. The recent collapse of housing market and subsequent recession has been particularly devastating to the Black community. Not only has our homeownership rates plummeted, but accessing mortgage credit has become nearly impossible outside of government insured programs such as the FHA and VA. Unemployment also remains high in the double digits for Blacks, and vacant and abandoned properties clutter our communities. The Sheba report is designed to shed light on many of the issues centered on foreclosure, migration, neighborhood blight, and disaster recovery for Blacks. More importantly, NAREB has endorsed several policy initiatives in this report. They address rebuilding the mortgage financial system to make loans more available for Black families, ensuring an adequate supply of credit to finance affordable rental housing, and creating a funding vehicle, specifically a community infrastructure bank, to provide the financing to enable broad-based community revitalization and jobs for unemployed workers. And that last part, the revitalization of communities, is really the most interesting thing that I was really attracted to, because they actually are going to be launching a pilot program, I believe, if I heard correctly. It's going to have 50 candidates with it, and they're going to be trained on how to revitalize their communities and how to start running a real estate development business, and they will go back and actually revitalize their communities. They're hoping to expand that from 50 to possibly 500 by 2025, and that is a super exciting, because that means that we have more people from the community building back in these communities, and hopefully bringing wealth back to these areas, and revitalizing them for future generations to come. I will briefly touch up on that, but the main focus for today is going to be the actual um, m- kind of concepts that minorities can use to purchase homes and first generation. African Americans usually have been here for many generations to come, but a lot of these suggestions will also apply to them. So, while we're talking about the Sheba report, let me give you a few key takeaways, and then we'll jump into the minorities and first generation key tips. I think that might be the best thing, because the Sheba report is really, really dense and really chock full of stuff. So it could be its own class on its own, but really the best thing you can do for yourself is actually look at the Sheba report and see how you feel about it. Look at the webinar from Maryland Realtors. It's going to be on their YouTube channel. I'll probably share it when it comes live. But it was a great webinar that discussed a lot of the key points that the report talked about. Just a few key takeaways I want to talk to you about are some of the challenging market conditions that the report talks about. The report acknowledges that the mortgage market faced challenges in previous years due to the rapid rise in interest rates and high house prices. This trend continued into the early part of the following year. The impact of mortgage lending to Black households. The report emphasized that These market conditions have led to a further deterioration of mortgage lending, particularly affecting Black households. And I'll even go further to say this, that the presenter made the comment that um, the discriminatory practices that we tended to see when um, someone would apply for a loan tended to happen almost more for African American applicants, or just black applicants in general. So it's something that's quite alarming, and the report calls for a lot of initiatives for fair housing. And what the report found at some points is that there are some states that have zero fair housing programs, and zero training for realtors at the fair housing level. So the National Association of Realtors has made it part of their initiative to make it a requirement every, I believe, 2 to 3 years for all realtors to take fair housing courses to help curve some of this discrimination we're seeing all across the nation. Number three, Federal Reserve roles. The Federal Reserve's tightening monetary policy, leading to high loan interest rates, is expected to persist into the next year, which is 2024. The report was from 2023. The report raises concerns about the potential negative effects on economic growth and unemployment, particularly with Black communities. Housing affordability and home ownership gap. Number four, despite moderating home prices, the combination of high mortgage rates and a shortage of affordable housing stock is expected to limit the potential for increased home ownership for Black households. The Black white home ownership gap is likely to persist through the end of the following year. One of the key statistics that I really was impressed there was the demographic within the Black community that was actually purchasing, and it was single females. Another key statistic was that these females usually were the heads of household, and were not only managing their own finances, but were managing the finances of several other family members, which inevitably ended up keeping them from purchasing homes longer. So it's became a point where we needed to teach more of the female African American and Black population on how they really can become homeowners. Because more than anything, the report showed that a lot of people just don't believe that they can do it or it can be them. So, teaching and educating these communities on what is possible is really our key initiative into the future. And it's always been an initiative, because the more you know, the more you can grow. GSC policies and executive orders on climate change. The report mentioned recent modifications to the government sponsored enterprise, the GSC pricing and credit scoring policies as potential avenues for improved lending to Black households. Additionally, the executive order on climate change may address the impact on Black communities. There was a big discussion on climate change and how it's impacted minorities and the Black community. We're talking about floods, disasters, these are all the results of climate change, and to some degree have impacted these sectors. So, what can be done to mitigate this, to help these communities, and to grow from the past? Limited impact of current efforts. While acknowledging these efforts that are occurring, the report suggests that they alone are unlikely to significantly increase the rate of Black home ownership. Unfortunately, it comes to a lot of other factors. The just bringing awareness to the problem and doing the few things that we're doing, it's not doing enough on a grand scale to tip the balance in favor of lessening the gap between white and Black for home ownership. And lastly, call for coordinated federal efforts. The report concludes by emphasizing that narrowing the black white racial gaps in homeownership and wealth requires concentrated and coordinated federal efforts, similarly to historical efforts that created disparities. It suggests the time to initiate such efforts is now. They are huge initiatives that they have started to develop. And one in particular that I wanted to let you know is a fair housing and diversity, equality, and inclusion program geared towards appraisers. So, in the past, maybe you've heard of appraisers possibly discriminating against minorities or black families while they were getting their properties appraised during the home selling process. This has potentially cost let's just say conservatively millions of dollars, but they predict somewhere in the billions of dollars in losses potentially to the community. But there are initiatives that are going to be geared towards helping and educating that sector of the industry because there is nothing against discrimination and inclusion in that sector of the industry. So it's going to be a great initiative to see in the future where we are going to see that appraisers really holding each other accountable for fair practices and making sure that everyone is abiding by a common code of ethics and fairness. So that's enough about the Sheba report. It's really worth a read. So if you have some time, go ahead and check it out. That does leave us a little bit of time for today's lesson, but we're just going to fly right through it because I know you guys can do it. Again, if you have any questions, as always, feel free and leave them on your platform of choice. And these are the 10 strategies for minorities and first generation individuals to navigate the real estate market in America. Educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Learn about the real estate process, market trends, and financing options. Attend workshops, webinars, and seek guidance from experienced professionals. Balance and build strong credit. A good credit score is crucial. Pay bills on time, reduce debts, and consider consulting a financial advisor to improve and maintain a healthy credit profile. Explore down payment assistance programs. Many programs offer assistance for first time buyers, minorities, and those with limited income. Research and apply for grants or low interest loans that can help with the down payment process. There are tons of programs. Look into them. Ask around, search, and look at community organizations too that might be working in the minority sector because they might have some opportunities as well. They're not widely advertised. Look into government backed loans. FHA, VA, and USDA loans provide opportunities for individuals with lower credit scores or smaller down payments. Understand the eligibility criteria and benefits of each. Seek multilingual assistance. Language barriers can be challenging. Work with real estate professionals who are multilingual and can help you navigate the complexities of the process more comfortably. If you need to do business in your own native language, there's nothing wrong with that. We completely understand if you feel more comfortable, possibly, dealing in your native tongue. I deal, I would say, almost 70% of my time in Spanish. It's kind of ironic that I do these lives in English. It's just honestly my first language, but I work a lot in the Spanish and Latino community. So Spanish speakers and speaking Spanish is part of my everyday. Working with a agent that understands that and can help you and work with you in that regard can really make the process a lot easier. So consider it. There are organizations like GCAR, the Greater Capital Area Association of Realtors, that can connect you with a translator or a realtor that speaks the language, but it's just a Google search away. Everything is a Google search away. There's no excuse not to be able to find something now. Number 6, connect with cultural communities. Joining cultural or minority focused organizations can provide valuable insight, networking opportunities, and support throughout the home buying journey. Consider rent to own options. Some sellers offer rent to own arrangements, allowing you to rent initially with the option to buy later. It can be a flexible way to transition into home ownership. I will put a little asterisk and disclaimer right here. Be very careful with who you're renting to own, and make sure everything is documented, everything's on the up and up. You can take a contract to the bank, you can go to the lawyer, get this seen by a professional, because the worst thing you want to do is get into a rent to own situation, end up paying more, and it turns out to really not be what you want in the long run. More than anything else, what we want to give you is the knowledge to know that you need to prepare yourself financially to buy a house. If you're renting to own, you're always going to pay a premium on that somehow, some way. It's very rare the situation that you'll have that will actually benefit the tenant in some fashion. Somehow the landlord will benefit, the owner will benefit. So you're always going to be better off leasing underneath your means, saving until you're ready to build up your credit and your down payment, and then going out and buying on your own. You're going to save yourself all the headache, the premium. It's going to be just easier. Be able to refinance. There's just tons of things that are just going to be easier for you. Explore community development programs like the ones we were talking about earlier. Some areas have community development initiatives that aim to revitalize neighborhoods. There was just a massive program approved in Baltimore, so we'll start seeing more and more of these things hop on. And the actual DC podcast, DC real estate podcast, if you could check it out with Russell Brazil, that was a really good episode on there with their guest that was helping develop a lot of Baltimore properties. So if you're ever interested in investing in Baltimore, that there's some great connections right there and initiatives that are working there, because there's a ton of properties that are ready to be redeveloped in that area. And that brings me to number 9. Work with diverse real estate professionals. Collaborate with real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and attorneys who understand the unique challenges faced by minorities and first generation buyers. They can offer personal guidance. I know what it's like being a Latino. I might not be your typical, like, hey, I came from another country, I was born here, but I know the culture, and I can speak to many cultures because I've dealt in business for so long, and every culture has its own little intricacies. I'm not gonna salute you one way or say hi to you one way when culturally it could be offensive. So we have to really be mindful of little things like that. And having agents and brokers and loan officers and professionals that are cultured enough to be able to talk to everyone is really what you need. You would hate to lose a deal just because someone's rude. So, lastly, before I get yelled at, as you can see, plan for long term success. Real estate is an investment into your future. Develop a long term plan to align with your financial goals. Consider factors like property appreciation, resale value, and the potential for future upgrades. Empowering individuals with knowledge and resources is the key to making informed decisions in any market. So, it's a matter of taking your time, preparing yourself, and just learning how it's done here in America in your local state. There are tons of initiatives, so there's no excuse why you should be missing out on the opportunity to purchase a home if your goal is to buy a home one day. And I know for some of us, it is our dream. We've come from families where maybe we've struggled and maybe we've suffered the uncertainty of a stable home. But there are some of us that don't know that pain. And I get it. Buying a home is not for everybody. But for those that understand the necessity, the peace of mind, the long term growth potential, the net worth, the math that I'm trying to express to you on the daily, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. So, to recap, today's 10 strategies for minorities and first generation individuals to navigate the real estate market in America are: number 1, educate yourself. Number 2, build strong credit. Number 3, explore down payment assistance programs. Number 4, look into government backed loans. Number 5, seek multilingual assistance. Number 6, connect with cultural communities. Number 7, consider rent to own options. Number 8, explore community development programs. Number 9, work with diverse real estate professionals. And number 10, plan for long term success, because you got this. You had it from the beginning. The fact that you're sitting here watching this right now shows that you're thinking a little bit differently. The bug's starting to bite you. You're going to make it. You're going to be successful. So keep going. Put one foot in front of the other. Rome was not built in a day. Berkshire Hathaway was not built in a day. So pace yourself. Make good choices today so that tomorrow you can benefit from those good choices. And if you want any consultation, any guidance on the best course of action to take in your particular situation when it comes to real estate, I'd be more than happy to help you out. I am licensed in Maryland. My name is Hugo Quintanilla. Feel free and look me up online. My name, again, Hugo Quintanilla. Phone number 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com. And my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. As always, we were live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, on LinkedIn, and on twitch.com. So leave me your questions, comments, concerns on any of those platforms. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel at Hugo, the number 4, Long and Foster. I'd be more than happy to have you guys on board on our road to 1,000 followers. And yeah, send me some more questions and more comments about the stuff you want to learn about. I have a pretty interesting topic for tomorrow. But you know, I would love to answer more questions that you want to hear about. So, again, leave them in the chats, and I will catch you all tomorrow for another live to learn a little bit more every day about how real estate can benefit you and those around you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.